Hello my friends! If you're new here, my name is Rachel and welcome to the channel, and if you are returning, hi, welcome back. It's so nice to see you again. Welcome to Pottsfield, our small town inspired autumn themed island that is loosely based off of the Cartoon Network mini-series Over the Garden Wall. I am so proud of how this beautiful fall town came together, and I cannot wait to walk you through the whole island. If this is your first time ever tuning into the channel, I have a playlist complete with all 10 speed build videos showing how we put this entire autumnal island together. And if you are a viewer who has been here since day one or found the channel along the way, let me just say a big thank you to you guys. I could not have built this island without all of your love and support, and I appreciate every single one of you so much. Now, I am not the most skilled with island tours, so bear with me as we dive in, but of course, feel free to tour Pottsfield along with me. I have presents set near the entrance, and the dream address is in the description box down below. Please leave a like on the video as well as subscribe if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, as I would love to have you as part of our cozy community. But without further ado, let's take a look at our map. So here we have the map to Pottsfield. It really isn't much to look at because I made the mistake of not putting pathing underneath my design codes, but I hope to get a custom map of the island commissioned soon. We of course have the dream address displayed here if you would like to join along. Now, as for the villagers, we have my island rep who lives down in the bottom left corner of the town where she runs her little apple orchard, farm, and cafe. Next, we have Bee, who is a little stand-in character that I made, and she lives in one of our villager neighborhoods. As for the actual villagers living on Pottsfield, we have Mael, Cole, Chief, my favorite villager, Teddy of course, Kevin, Bunny, Pudge, Kiki, Vesta, and lastly Felicity. With all of that established, let's go straight into our tour. Here we are in the entrance to Pottsfield, and I just feel like this area is so magical and such a great way to usher you in to the rest of the town. I loved using the fences and the decorative pillars to make this grand kind of like gateway into the town, and it was my first ever attempt at a city core build of any kind. I definitely struggled with it quite a bit, but the end result is so beautiful. We can head over this bridge that we have right here and say hello to Felicity, who is strolling along the main boulevard. And this area is just so magical with all of the fall foliage, and it's just so beautiful and cozy. We have my first ever attempt at a faux building off to the side here. I created a little tunnel that continues the roadway beneath this cliffside, and I think it looks so cool. Just a little bit of forced perspective going on. But I think that it worked really well. I use this build quite a lot on the island, so we'll see it a couple more times. But yeah, I just want to just soak in this beautiful fall foliage that we have going on here with our adorable little pumpkin display. If we head on, we can find this little side road right here, which Felicity is probably going to be blocking, so we will bypass that for now and head over to our town square plaza area. Now, this is where we have our resident services, and I feel like this is just such a beautiful area for really integrating resident services really well into the rest of the island. It's so hard to get buildings to work in Animal Crossing, but this one I feel like just really caters to resident services. You can see that we have Bee hanging out over here. She is just strolling along the main boulevard as well. But we have the street performer area right here where a villager can come and maybe play some tunes, make a couple of bells along the way. We also have an adorable little newspaper stand right here. I like to think that Kix runs the newspaper stand because he just seems like the type of villager that would run a newspaper stand. But if we head on up, you can see that we have two of the symmetrical flower beds right here, just displaying some pumpkins, and I love the colors that we have going on here. We have Miss Luna back here serving body, of course, love her. But heading back down, I actually want to take you guys toward the beach area. We have the apple cider truck right here, which was a fan favorite build for sure. I got so many very sweet comments about this area. We have Kevin strolling around, so cute. We have Felicity as well. This is just such a fun area. I knew for sure I wanted my resident services to be outfitted with a lot of different spots for villagers to interact because I wanted it to feel like the type of space where everybody is just hanging out and getting ready for Halloween. But I love this spot so much. We also have Pottsfield set to the golden hour, which I think just gives everything such a warm and dreamy glow to it. If we continue on though, we have the little public park area right here with this fountain, as well as a little chess table off to the side for villagers to play a little bit of chess by the river. Now, if we head on down, we have this beach area, which is something that I did not feature in a speed build, so it should be new for everyone to see. My idea for this area was for it to just kind of be a little extension of the plaza. So instead of it being a boardwalk, I continued on with the brick designs, and I just think this area is so cool. It's really hard to decorate beaches, especially in a city core style, so I just decided to extend the city onto the beach. But we have some seating areas to enjoy some snacks. We have a spot to park some bikes. We also have an area to lounge along the lakeside. I like to imagine that Pottsfield is more of a lakeside town than a beachside town. But we also have a little paddleboard area where you can rent out some paddle boards and take them out onto the water. But this is pretty much it for this little area down here. We are now going to continue by going up and over actually. We're gonna head to the right side where we have a little riverside walkway. Not too much going on here, very simply decorated, but still very cute. We have a little water well with some pails, that way you can gather up some water. And heading up, we have a seating area right across from a little food stall if you want to order some food that you can take to munch on by the water's edge. We also have someone who has parked a bike up here, and of course just a couple more little pumpkin items. We can walk down the road here and just get a better look at resident services. We have a little pumpkin display off to the side here with some stonework kitchens. I use the stonework kitchens to try and make it look like resident services is built out even more. And off to the side, we have something similar over here, but I decided to change it up by including a little telephone booth, as well as a recycling station and a little table to just hang out and I guess like review your map to make sure you're going in the right spot. We have the left side over here, which is the little side road that leads us back to the entrance, just to give you an idea of where all of these little pathways lead to. I love the side road so much. I don't know what it is about this, but just having the party lights and the street lamps and the trees, it's just so beautiful. But we can head on up. We are going to skip going to the left for now because I want to take you guys behind resident services instead. We have this little riverside walk as well with a bistro table. We have some more public benches so that way you can have lots of areas to sit and rest and just take in all of the beautiful fall foliage. But heading up, we have this bridge here that brings us to the Pottsfield Pumpkin Patch. Now let's just set up the camera really quick to get a view of this beautiful area. Now originally I had thought that I was going to make the pumpkin patch something that was very commercial, almost like something you would find in front of a school or a church in real life, but instead I decided to play more into our over the garden wall inspiration and have it nestled behind this little forest. We have a bit more of a farm-like feeling. There's a barn that's included, which I feel like is another great ode to the show, but this entrance here is seriously so beautiful, like one of my favorite spots. I love it so much. I just think that it's so gorgeous. But we can go ahead and head into the actual pumpkin patch area. Off to the side here, we have some stalls which are set up to be like a little checkout station for the pumpkin patch. Maybe you grabbed your pumpkins, you bring them over here, they can put them on this little analog scale and you can purchase them depending on the price for how much they weighed maybe. I feel like that's pretty accurate to some real pumpkin patches. But if we head on over, you can see we have some little planters, like maybe they sell actual pumpkin starts here because this is a farm, so I imagine they like to do some selling going even outside of the fall season. We have adorable little Mayelle walking around in the pumpkin patch. I think that she looks so cute. But we also have this barn right here. This is a build that I am super proud of. If you would like to know how to build this barn as well, I have all of the dimensions and the items on screen in the pumpkin patch video in case you want to recreate something similar on your island. But I have this little pumpkin festival sign, which I feel like is a great little Easter egg for the show. The pumpkin guy that's on it looks a lot like Enoch, who is the patriarch of Pottsfield in the TV show, and I just really like it. I think it's so cute to have little Easter eggs like that on this island. But if we continue looking around, we have a little mini pumpkin patch off to the side here, as well as a tiny little wheat field. We also have this little pumpkin carving station over here where you can come and carve out the pumpkins that you have recently bought. This area just feels so cozy. But heading on over, we have the pumpkin contest right here. Now, this was such a fun thing to build because I allowed you guys to choose the winner of the pumpkin contest, and everyone chose Kiki in a landslide vote, and I like to think that Kiki actually made this giant pumpkin in the back. But if we head on over, we have this little photo op moment. I love this area so much. I love how you can actually see the train peeking up above. I think the sight lines are so gorgeous, and I love this little custom design right here. I feel like it really plays into the vintage style of the town. But if we head on down and over, we have the infamous little pumpkin patch right here. This was such a fun build. It was my first time being able to build out a pumpkin patch, and I decided to try and make it look very overgrown. In my mind, Pottsfield is a town that is taking place very close to Halloween, so I would like to think that everyone has already picked their pumpkins, which is why the pumpkins are a bit smaller in this patch, as well as there being some more open spots as well, places where weeds, flowers, and mushrooms have taken over. But this area is just like, I feel like I keep saying magical, but it's just so magical. Like, I love this spot so much. I love all the oranges and just the warmth that we have going on. Now, as much as I would love to hang out in the pumpkin patch for the rest of forever, we will be heading back to resident services now, so that way we can explore the left-hand side of the island. Alright, so we have made our way back to resident services, and now we are going to explore the left side of Pottsfield. So we are going to head over here. I have another little extension of the main road right here. We have a townhome that is all decorated for Halloween. Across the street we have the 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎, which honestly takes up a big portion of the sightlines, so I do apologize for that. But heading up this incline here, we actually have Kiki's Cafe and Espresso Bar, which was probably one of the most fun areas to work on. I think that it's so beautiful. I love this spot so much, especially the espresso bar. Hanging out here is seriously one of my favorite things to do, and just like living out my espresso dreams, going and getting a pumpkin spice latte, of course. But we have this little patio area where you can enjoy some baked goods right in front of Kiki's Cafe. Her home is decorated inside and out as well, but we also of course have the espresso bar, which is one of my seriously like favorite spots ever. I think it's so cute. These sights here are so gorgeous with all of the trees and the pumpkin patch being in the background. You can't even tell that the pumpkin patch is back there, so it just looks like a forest. It's just so cozy and warm. We have the start to the Forbidden Forest back here, which I feel like makes sense for Kiki because she is a black cat, so I kind of wanted to give her a little bit of a spooky area. But I did kind of change up behind her house a little bit. I went through and added that little pumpkin patch, which kind of alludes to her winning the pumpkin contest. But yeah, if we head back on down, we can go back to the main road and go explore the 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 sisters. Up this incline, we have the 𝒷𝓊𝓃 sisters shop, which is right next to the apple orchard, so I tried to add a lot of little apple items. This spot is so gorgeous. I love the way that 𝒷𝓊𝓃 sisters fits in with this actual like theme in this area. I feel like the colors all work together so well, and all of these shades of green in this spot I feel like are like such nice pops of contrasting colors. We have a little alteration area right here for the sisters to hang out and work on some projects. I also decided to kind of extend 𝒷𝓊𝓃 sisters behind the actual building, so that way it looks like 𝒷𝓊𝓃 sisters is bigger than it actually is. I like like to imagine that all three sisters live in the Able Sisters shop, so I tried to make it bigger to kind of have that make a bit more sense. But we have a little lunch spot, which I think is adorable. We have some clothes on display. And then this little sidewalk area over here kind of brings us alongside the apple orchard, past that front entrance area where we have our tunnel build. And then down here we just have the river that leads into the entrance, as well as this gorgeous lookout over the apple orchard. I have gotten so many beautiful pictures in this spot. I think that it's seriously so magical, like all of the trees layered together and the apple cider brewery cafe. It's such a dream. I love it so, so much. Alright, so we have a couple of options for where we can go next. We have the villager neighborhood to the north, we have a residential beach to the west, and then we have the apple orchard to the south. I think I want to take you guys through the apple orchard and then we can circle our way back around. So if we follow this main road, you can see we have some apple trees peeking out right here. If we head through this archway, it brings us into my apple orchard. Now, this place is very overgrown and honestly a little difficult to navigate, and that was intentional. I am a big fan of cluttercore, so I tried to fill this area in as much as I possibly could, but my idea with this area is that it's actually a kind of abandoned apple farm. My island rep inherited it from an ailing relative who passed away and did not upkeep the apple farm very well, so it's very overgrown, and it's my job to kind of tackle that and bring it back to its former glory. I was very inspired by cozy games like Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon, and Story of the Seasons for that type of storyline, but I just love this area so, so much. As you saw, we had a little picnic area off to the side where you can like reserve maybe for a wedding or a party. Right here we have a little bit of a well with just some filler for the actual orchard itself. Now we have a little sign here leading up this incline, so we are going to head up here. You can see we have yet another little bike parking area. You can tell just how much I love making these little bike builds, but taking this kind of like secret path off to the side here, you can actually see that we have the apple orchard farmhouse, which I built out with some different kind of building items. If we continue taking this actual little road, it brings you to this courtyard in front of the farmhouse. But as you can see here, we have a courtyard area where you can kind of just have a communal table to sit and eat at with some friends. We also, of course, have a spot to do some checking out if you would like to buy maybe a freshly baked apple pie or some apple jam or cider. We also have this little hillside above the farm that has a little beekeeping station because, of course, bees are very important to the local ecosystem of a farm. But this area is just so, so pretty. I love how cozy it is over here, and the terraforming in this spot is so gorgeous. But we are going to make our way back down past this little pathway right here, and we're going to head toward the beach area. Now, this beach spot starts with a little picnic. I like to envision that this is a place where Kiki and 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 like to hang out and maybe do like a little book exchange while they munch on some of Kiki's home-baked goods. But we have our little beach area right here. The beach is decorated kind of different from the actual town. This is supposed to be a bit more of an abandoned area of Pottsfield. Maybe the fishing industry in town has kind of collapsed a little bit after the hard times that the island has gone through, but we can continue on to explore the beach a little bit more. I once again just tried to clutter up this area as much as I could. It leads on over into a little teen hangout bonfire spot. I love this area. It's really simple right here, but I think it is just really cute. But if we keep on going, we just have a continuation of the same decorations, another little fishing barge abandoned area, and it leads up into this little wheat field right here, where you can see it kind of like separates the land a little bit to kind of like give the illusion that there's more going on here than what I have given. Once again, space is really hard to work with in islands on Animal Crossing, especially on the beaches. But if we head on up, you can see, of course, we have the apple orchard up on this cliff, but heading over here, we have a little feast area. So this build was inspired by Thanksgiving, and while Thanksgiving isn't a holiday that I necessarily enjoy celebrating, I really wanted to include something something for Turkey Day on the island, so that way the villagers could have a spot to come and have a feast. I did include enough chairs for every single villager on the island, and I really like how this area turned out. I feel like it's so cozy, and it's really hard to decorate beaches, so I feel like this is probably like just a cute little idea for something you could put on an autumn beach. So the lighting may look a little different, and that's because I actually had to close out of the 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 and come back in because we were losing light very quickly on this island. That is definitely one downside to being in the golden hour, is it's right as the sun is setting. But nonetheless, let's continue on with our tour. If we head on up, you can see that we have the continuation of the beach right here, and off to the side a little forested area. This leads into an adorable little carrot garden slash flower garden, and we have a teddy actually hanging out in the background. I love this so much. So this garden is actually tended to by both Bunny and Teddy, and when they are not tending to their garden, they actually like to hang out in their little beachside picnic area, as Teddy is doing right now. So I love this spot so much. I decorated it with both of them in mind. So we have a little carrot cake here for Bunny, and we also have some exercise equipment for Teddy, and Teddy is actually about to block me in. But this area is seriously so cute. I really like decorating villager homes and areas based off of their personalities. Up here we have a little laundry area for the two of them to take care of some laundry. And heading on over, you can see the start of our villager neighborhood. We of course have Teddy's house right here, which has been updated with the interior and the exterior. His little yard is so stinking cute. He decorated hardcore for Halloween. He's got his exercise equipment, and he is loving every second of it. I have a little mini pumpkin patch right here, just a little bit of a filler to help kind of close in this area. But Teddy's house, I am seriously so happy with how his house turned out. I think it's adorable. Right across from Teddy we have Bunny's house. Bunny has yet another little flower garden. I give her a little scooter that maybe she rides around town, because there's just something about peppy villagers and like little mopeds that I'm like, yeah, she would definitely ride one. We also have a little candy bowl where she's giving out candy and her own Halloween decorations. And then we have the main road where the villagers have set up a little trick-or-treating station that they can give out candy to the local kids. And if we head all the way up, we can actually see the house at the end of the street, which belongs to Bee. My idea with Bee's house is that she's actually decorated it into more of a vintage Halloween style. So going all out with pumpkins, she has a little bit of a vintage garage going on here with an old beat up car, and something about her home just feels very like 1970s to me, and I don't know why, but I love it so much. Like this spot at nighttime with all of the pumpkins glowing, it's seriously so gorgeous. But this is kind of it for this actual little Halloween neighborhood. Now if we head up this incline, we can actually move into the back half of the island where we have our Forbidden Woodsman's Forest. Now this entire back half of Pottsfield is very heavily inspired by the show. I tried to put in some actual builds from the show back here, and this is one of them, with it being the Woodsman's Forest. Off to the side here we have a little simple well, which is just hidden in some trees. It looks very overgrown, very filled in this area. And off to the side here we can find the actual old grist mill from the show. This is a build that I am seriously so proud of. I love the little gear apparatus being used as the water wheel. I was definitely running very tight on space in this area of the island, so I tried to do what I could to make it as close to the show as possible. But this area is just so cool. I love how overgrown and filled in this whole forest is. I was definitely working with a very tight area back here, but no matter what, I am still really proud with how everything actually ended up turning out. Now if we take this little hidden road that we have back here, we can actually come behind Chief's house and off to the side here. Now Chief has a little laundry area that is next to the pond, which feeds his actual water mill, but he also has a little hidden beach area. I didn't do too much here. I just tried to add as many items as I could to make it look magical, and it leads all the way back into this cave area, which is possibly where the beast lives, maybe, who knows. Now, of course, this area doesn't just have the Forbidden Forest. We can also go beneath this ruined arch and head up into the Eternal Garden Cemetery. This is modeled after the cemetery in the show, which you can see in the last episode of Over the Garden Wall, so I will try to keep the spoilers at a minimum for this area. But regardless, I love how this whole build turned out. We have a nice spooky statue right here, as well as a little peekaboo pumpkin build behind the statue with the ruined arch. I thought that build was super cool. It actually looks like it's encased in a room. But off to the side here, we have a little hangout spot for some teenagers, which is very similar to the one that you can see in the show. And of course, we have the fabled garden wall. That is this wall over here, which overlooks the railroad area underneath and is just such a cool little spot. I tried to make sure I included the garden wall because of course this is an island that is heavily inspired by the TV show. Now we do have another half of the cemetery, so we can just scooch past this front area and go off to the side here, and we have a couple more graves in this area as well as our museum. So I thought that it could be cool to take the museum and turn it into more of a mausoleum instead by using a combination of the medieval pieces to kind of give it this like faux facade, and the door actually looks like something that you could walk into and go and see any of the tombs that are interned inside the actual mausoleum. We also have a little grief garden over here, as I like to call it, where you can just come and peacefully mourn your loved ones that have passed. That is actually everything for the Eternal Garden Cemetery, so we are going to make our way back down. Now we are back in our Forbidden Forest, and we can actually take this path toward the right here and walk through it a bit more. Once again, I tried to just have some filler in this area. I tried to play around with perspective with the trees. Taking this little side road up, we can actually go and investigate our railroad area. So this is a build that I am so proud of. It was one that I wasn't really sure how it was going to turn out because I'd never tried to build a train before and I had no idea how I was going to do it. I wanted it to be a completely black train like it is in the show, but instead I decided to have these pops of purple because of the plaza item, and I think it looks really cool. I really like the contrast with the colors, and as you can see, it's heading towards one of those tunnel builds that I have done. But I tried to decorate the back to look as filled as possible, so that way it looks like the forest continues onward instead of there being a lake toward the back. But we can take this little sidewalk and just walk past the train. Once again, I am so proud of how this area turned out. I think the train looks so cool and realistic. I had no idea how I was going to pull it off, but the combination of the cutouts with the stalls and the street organs, I feel like just does everything so successfully. As you can see, of course, we have our pumpkin patch down below, and Kiki is actually walking along the train as well. That is so cute. Oh my goodness, I love that so much. But the train is going out of one tunnel and into another, which I think looks really cool. It also helps because this area is so long and narrow. I feel like it fits really well in this back half of our island. Now we are actually coming up on the last half of the island. We have the right side to explore now, and let me just take a moment to let you know that Pottsfield is technically a giant circle. So if you were exploring Pottsfield on your own, just know that you would actually be able to use this vine right here to climb up and go to the other side of the island, but I will not be taking that way. Instead, I will bring you guys back to resident services yet again, so that way we can explore Pottsfield naturally from the main entrance. Alright, so we have made our way back to resident services yet again, and now we are going to tour the final area of Pottsfield, which is the right side of the island. So we can get there by going down from resident services and going back to our little main boulevard right here, and this road will lead us off to the side past a little land bridge area that goes over the river, and we are at Mayelle's house. So this is a build that I was very proud of. I feel like her home fits very well into the natural landscape, and it looks like it belongs here. I love the extension that I gave it with the storefront as well as the bookcase. Now, Mayelle of course owns a used bookstore, which might conflict with her fashion hobby, but her snooty personality just screamed used bookstore for me. Like, I feel like Mayelle probably runs one of those really fancy used bookstores that only takes like classics or something like that. I like the idea of Mayelle being really into poetry or something, like really classical French poetry. She does have this little like Parisian like French bob moment going on with her hair, so maybe she's really into like classical French poetry. I tried to think of some French poets that I could name, and I could not because all of their names are like really hard to pronounce. So instead of butchering those French names, I'm just going to drop Victor Hugo and we are going to move on from that. But we have her little area right here where you can like go through and maybe look through some of the books that are on sale or something like that. But her house is just so, so cute. I can't wait for you guys to explore inside. I also have a little seating area right here just to, once again drive home that we are in a city core island. Now, as you can see here, we are at a little bit of an intersection where we could go up, over, or down, and I think that we will actually go up instead. So once we go past this little tree-lined walkway, we will actually find ourselves at the Fall Fair. Now, this area was heavily inspired by Arden Crossing over on Instagram. She is one of my lovely partners who is just so, so amazing, and she creates some awesome builds and some amazing custom design codes, which are actually featured on this island. So I highly, highly recommend going and checking her out. She just recently finished Hawthorne, which is a fall festival island that is just so breathtaking. So do go and visit. But right here we have a little bit of a pie eating contest. We also have a little baking contest where people could put some pies into the contest to be judged based off of like looks and flavor maybe. We also have a little apple bobbing station, and this area is just so cute. It feels very vintage and kind of like almost cottagecore. I was just really struggling with figuring out a way to incorporate my campsite into an island, so I decided that the fall fair would be the best spot. Like maybe there's a little concert that goes on right here or something like that, but I just thought it was really, really cute. Now we can head off to the side here and actually up this incline where we can go and experience our little Halloween cul-de-sac that we put together. This is probably the most impressive build that we have on the island. I feel like it's just so full of personality and character, and it also just means a lot to me personally because I have some memories that are tied to this build. I mentioned in the speed build itself that I used to do pizza parties with my neighborhood growing up, where every Halloween we would order pizza, bring it to the cul-de-sac, and everyone in the entire neighborhood would gather around and eat pizza and show off their costumes before going trick-or-treating. So I kind of wanted to do something similar right here with this little cul-de-sac as well. They have the pizza that they've ordered, a little cooler where you can get some soda or something like that, and off to the side here we have Pudge's house. Now Pudge has the play hobby, so I decided to give him this little picnic board game area where Pudge can maybe hang out here with some friends and play some board games and eat some snacks. I also decided to give him a little bit of an overgrown yard that maybe he forgot to keep mowing. He's got his lawnmower out, he just hasn't finished it yet because he is a lazy villager, which I feel like that kind of makes sense. Off to the side of his house here, he has a little like cookie tray and some Halloween candy that he's giving out to some kids maybe, even though in my mind Pudge is still probably a kid. He reminds me of like a teenager or something. But off to the side here, we actually have Vesta's house. Now I like to think that Vesta maybe isn't the most like biggest fan of Halloween. Like I feel like a lot of people view her as a creepy villager, so maybe she's not super into Halloween, but she decorated it just enough with some pumpkins. But as you can see, none of her pumpkins are carved because that's a little too spooky for her. But if we continue around, we can actually see the last two homes that we have in this 4-villager cul-de-sac. We have another little table here for some candy giving, but this house right here is actually Felicity's house, believe it or not. So I know that Felicity is a peppy villager, but I love the storyline that Felicity is actually really into Halloween. It's her favorite holiday of the entire year, and she spends the entire year watching horror movies leading up to Halloween. She's obsessed with everything spooky and scary, so I tried to give her kind of like a little creepy haunted house look to her home. It's not the creepiest thing in the world, but I still think it's really cute. The inside of her home is decorated to look like a little Halloween party. But off to the side here, we actually have Cole's house. Now, Cole in my storyline is best friends with Felicity, but he is a giant scaredy cat, so he does not like anything scary, which kind of puts him at a little bit of an odds with Felicity because she loves horror movies. But he has the nature hobby, so I just gave him a tiny little garden area off to the side here. Of course, he lives next to the pumpkin patch, so he has these beautiful sweeping views. Of course, he is a lazy villager, so he also likes bugs, so I gave him a little spider in a container back there. And right here we have a little pumpkin carving station for Felicity and Cole to carve some pumpkins at. And that is kind of it for this whole like cul-de-sac area. I still really love how this whole spot turned out. I think it's so cool, and we can actually keep adventuring up to see what's behind the cul-de-sac as well. Alrighty, my friends, that is everything for our tour of Pottsfield. It's so bittersweet saying goodbye and finally having this island come to an end, but I am so grateful that this lovely little town has brought us all together and helped me start my channel. It genuinely means the world to me to have been able to share this adventure with you guys, and I just want to try and express how much your kindness and sense of community has really meant to me. I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without you guys, and I just appreciate every single one of you so much. Just know that we have big things in store and that I can't wait to explore more islands together with you. Do stay tuned for 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎, our new winter island, and remember to leave a like on this video as well as comment letting me know what your favorite area on Pottsfield is. Also remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be notified of all of my future cozy uploads, and I will see you all in the next video.